An off-duty alien soldier attacked her bar, unaware she was humanity's most HFY. Most ships were small freighters, carrying food, metals, and supplies to other worlds. It was not a famous station. It was small, almost forgotten. Most travelers passed through without noticing. Inside, the bar at the center was warm and dim. A few lights hung from the ceiling, swinging slightly with the movement of the station. The smell of old wood and brewed drinks mixed with the faint scent of recycled air. Laura Miles stood behind the counter, polishing glasses. Her hands moved slowly and carefully. She was tall and strong, but her movements were quiet, controlled, and calm. Her hair was tied back in a loose bun. She looked around the bar, noting the few customers. A pair of alien traders sipped drinks in a corner, speaking in low tones. A human miner rested at a table, tired from his work. Laura smiled politely when he nodded to her, then returned to her glass. She liked the quiet. She liked peace. For years, she had avoided trouble, avoiding attention. No one in this station knew who Laura really was. To them, she was just a retired human worker running a small bar. The door to the bar slid open with a hiss. Laura glanced up. A figure entered, larger than most humans, with bright blue skin and sharp, angular features. He had a muscular build, taller than any human in the room, and carried a weapon across his chest. Behind him, two smaller aliens followed. The largest one moved with a strange mix of grace and aggression, even while slightly drunk. "Hey," he said, his voice rough and loud. "Where are the human drinks?" He slammed his clawed hand on the counter. The bar shook slightly and Laura's glasses rattled. The other patrons froze. The miner at the corner chair swallowed nervously. Laura raised one hand. "Please calm down, we don't want trouble here." Her voice was soft but firm. She kept her eyes steady on the large alien. There was something in her posture, something about the way she stood, that made the alien hesitate. The alien laughed harshly. "Trouble? I am trouble. Don't tell me to calm down, human. I am off duty and I want fun." He waved at the bartender, who had been quiet until now. "Bring more drinks, now." Ben Carter, the young human behind the bar, moved quickly. He poured the drinks, his hands shaking slightly. He had heard stories about humans being weak compared to aliens. He thought of Laura as quiet, normal. But he also noticed the calm in her eyes, even when facing the biggest alien he had ever seen. The alien soldier slammed the drinks onto the counter. "Is that all?" he shouted. His friends laughed in alien language, which sounded like clicks and hisses to humans. The noise filled the bar, echoing off the walls. Laura did not move. She only took a slow step forward, keeping her eyes on him. "I said leave," Laura said. "I don't want any problems." Karth, the large alien, stared at her, his eyes wide in disbelief. No human had ever told him what to do before. He raised his hand to hit her, a warning strike. The air in the bar became tense. Even the alien friends stopped moving, sensing the anger and power rising from the human in front of them. Laura did not flinch. When Karth moved, she sidestepped smoothly. Her body seemed to know exactly how to move, how to balance, how to react. She grabbed his wrist and twisted it, making him stumble forward. The bar fell silent. Glasses trembled on shelves. The alien's jaw dropped. "What?" he said, disbelief clear in his voice. He tried to push back, but Laura held him steady. Her eyes were calm, almost cold. She was not afraid. The strength in her hands, the control in her body, it was more than a normal human. Ben whispered to himself, How is she doing that?" Laura let go of Karth and stepped back. She did not attack. She only stood ready. The alien raised his fists again, but this time more carefully. He had not expected resistance, not like this. I am just having fun," he said, trying to sound confident. "You humans are weak. I should." His voice trailed off. He glanced at his two friends, but they did not move. Their eyes were wide, watching Laura closely. Laura's eyes narrowed slightly. "Fun at the expense of others is not fun," she said simply. "Leave now or you will regret it." The alien soldier blinked. No human had ever spoken to him like that. Not on the battlefield, not even in training simulations. He felt something unfamiliar, fear. Not the fear of death, but the fear of strength he could not understand. He lunged suddenly, trying to overpower her. Laura moved faster than the eye could follow. She blocked his arms, twisted his movements, and pushed him toward a table. The table cracked but did not fall completely. Karth stumbled back, shocked and angry. His friends tried to intervene, but Laura turned toward them and held her hands in a way that told them to stop. They froze, unsure what to do. Ben could hardly believe what he saw. He had grown up listening to stories about humans being fragile, weak, and unarmed. And now he saw a woman, taking down a powerful alien without weapons, without effort, as if she had trained for decades. "Enough," Laura said, her voice firm. "I said leave." The largest alien, Karth, looked at her again. Sweat ran down his blue face. He could not move. For a moment the room was silent except for the hum of the station's lights. Even the other patrons, who had been cowering in corners, peeked to see what was happening. Finally, Karth backed off. He muttered in alien language and stumbled out, dragging his friends with him. The bar door hissed shut behind them. Laura stood quietly, breathing evenly. Her hands were still calm, though her body remained alert. She looked at Ben. "Are you okay?" she asked. Ben nodded, too stunned to speak. I think so," he said finally. They weren't human fighters. They couldn't beat you." Laura sighed and returned to her work. She picked up a glass, wiped it, and set it down. "I told you, Ben, I never wanted trouble, but some people do not know how to respect peace." The miner from the corner chair cleared his throat. That was incredible," he said quietly. Who are you?" Laura smiled faintly, a small, sad smile. "Just someone who has seen too much," she said, "and learned how to survive." The bar slowly returned to normal. Drinks were poured, quiet conversations began again. No one spoke of the alien attack. No one dared ask too many questions. Laura worked quietly, but in her mind she knew this was only the beginning. If an off-duty soldier could test her patience so easily, someone else might come. She looked out the small window of the bar at the station lights. Space was quiet, but it was not safe. She knew that trouble always came to those who were capable, whether they sought it or not. But she also knew that she had no fear. She had survived wars that no fleet could endure. She had faced enemies that entire armies could not defeat, and she was human. Her calm returned, and the bar stayed quiet, for now. But somewhere in the galaxy, someone had just learned that humans were not as weak as they appeared. The bar was quiet after the alien soldier left, but the tension remained. Laura continued cleaning glasses, but her mind was alert. She knew that Karth and his friends might return. She had faced worse than drunken soldiers in her life, but a careless human might be caught unprepared. Ben Carter stayed behind the counter, watching her carefully. He wanted to ask questions, but he was too afraid. "Why did they attack you?" he finally asked, his voice shaking. Laura shook her head slowly. "Not because of me," she said. "Because they think humans are weak. They wanted to test, that is all. They do not know who I am." Ben looked puzzled. "Test? What do you mean?" Laura leaned on the counter, her eyes scanning the bar. "Humans are often underestimated. We are not the strongest species, but we survive. And sometimes, we fight back in ways no one expects." Before Ben could ask more, the bar's door hissed open again. A human officer entered quickly. He wore a uniform with small insignia on the chest and a badge at his shoulder. His name tag read Ethan Ross. He walked with purpose, eyes scanning the room until they landed on Laura. "Laura Miles?" Ethan said quietly, almost in disbelief. Laura turned slowly. "Officer Ross," she said. Her tone was calm but carried weight. She did not smile. "What brings the station security here?" Ethan's eyes widened slightly. I heard about the disturbance. That alien soldier, he mentioned a human woman fighting him off." "I saw the reports. You're Laura Miles?" Ben gasped quietly. He had never heard anyone speak Laura's full name before. It sounded official, powerful. Laura nodded slowly, knowing she could not hide now. "Yes," she said. "I am Laura Miles." Ethan stepped closer, lowering his voice. You were in the expansion wars, weren't you? The battles at Ryland System, the defense of Luna Delta. I never thought you survived." Laura looked at him, her expression unreadable. "I survived," she said simply. "And I retired. I wanted peace, that is all." Ethan hesitated, glancing at Ben and the rest of the bar. "People will not believe it," he said. "Aliens will not believe it. Seeing you fighting off an off-duty soldier, they will panic if they know who you are." Laura sighed. "Let them panic. I do not fight unless necessary." Today was necessary. Outside, Karth's voice could be heard in the corridor, shouting in alien language. Laura's ears twitched slightly. She could sense his movements, even though she could not see him. She knew he was angry and planning to return. "He is coming back," Laura said quietly. "He will not admit defeat." Ethan frowned. You can stop him." Laura smiled faintly, but it did not reach her eyes. "He will learn the hard way that humans are not weak. That is all I can promise." Ben looked worried. "But he is so strong. Even the other aliens said so. He will kill us all if he wants." Laura walked past him, her steps measured. "He will not kill me," she said. "And if he tries, I will make sure no one else is harmed. That is the difference between humans and aliens. We fight to survive, not to destroy without reason." A sudden crash sounded from the corridor outside. Laura moved to the bar's window and looked. Karth was back, dragging his two friends with him. His face was red, his eyes wild. He had clearly underestimated Laura and was furious. "Human," he shouted in alien language, pointing at her. "You cannot stop me." Laura did not flinch. She took a step forward. "I already have," she said calmly. "Leave before you regret it more." Karth roared and charged, smashing the door open. The bar shook with the impact. Tables toppled, drinks spilled, and patrons screamed. Ben ducked behind the counter, terrified. Ethan raised his weapon, but Laura held up a hand. "Not yet," she said. "Watch." Karth swung his massive fists toward Laura. She dodged with perfect timing, barely moving her feet. Her movements were precise, controlled, and faster than the eye could follow. She grabbed his arm, twisted it, and pushed him into a wall. The impact left a dent, but she did not even break a sweat. The smaller aliens tried to attack, but Laura turned toward them, using their momentum against them. They flew across the room, crashing into tables and chairs. The bar was chaos, but Laura was calm, focused, and in control. Ben watched, mouth open. How can she move like that?" he whispered. Ethan was equally stunned. She is human?" he asked, disbelief in his voice. Laura's eyes scanned the room. "Stay down," she said softly. "Do not get in the way." Karth struggled to rise, his blue face twisted with anger. "I am strong, I will break you," he shouted. Laura stepped closer. "You will learn that strength is not only in size and weapons," she said. "Sometimes it is in control, patience, and timing." She moved again. Faster than the alien could react, she grabbed his weapon and threw it across the room. It hit the wall and shattered. Karth roared in frustration. His friends tried to help, but Laura was already behind them, restraining them with precise grips and holds. Ben and Ethan watched silently. The bar had become a battlefield, but Laura moved through it like a shadow. No one could touch her, and yet no one was killed. The aliens realized something terrifying. This human was not only strong, she was unstoppable. Finally, Laura stood in the center of the bar, facing Karth. He was on his knees, breathing heavily, sweat and bruises covering his body. His pride was shattered. "I said leave," Laura said, her voice calm but deadly. "Or next time it will not be just a warning." Karth looked up at her, eyes wide with fear for the first time. He realized he had underestimated humans, underestimated Laura, underestimated the quiet power that had been hidden behind her calm face all these years. Slowly, he and his friends staggered to the door. No words were spoken. They left, slamming the door behind them. The bar fell silent again. Patrons slowly emerged from hiding, staring at Laura in awe and fear. Ben finally spoke. You could have killed them," he said quietly. Laura shook her head. "I do not kill without reason," she said. "Humans fight to survive, not to destroy for fun. Remember that, Ben, remember it always." Ethan lowered his weapon, still staring. "I cannot believe it," he said. You were the legend from the wars. You fought battles that entire fleets avoided. And now you are here in this bar." Laura smiled faintly. "Legends do not always want to be legends," she said. "Sometimes we just want to be left alone, but if someone pushes too far, they will see the truth." The miner from the corner chair finally spoke. "Truth. What do you mean?" Laura looked around the bar, her eyes calm but sharp. "The truth is, humans are stronger than they seem. We survive, we endure, and when necessary, we fight back. That soldier will tell others what happened. They will know that humans are not weak." "That is enough for now." Ben and Ethan nodded slowly, understanding. The bar had returned to a sense of normalcy, but everyone knew that something had changed. Humans were not what the galaxy thought they were, and Laura Miles was the living proof. Laura returned to her counter, wiping glasses, her hands steady. She looked out the window at the station lights. She knew that this incident would spread across the station and beyond. Somewhere in the galaxy, aliens would whisper about the human who had defeated a soldier without weapons, without killing, with calm precision. Peace had returned to her bar for now, but Laura knew it was only temporary. Humans who were underestimated always drew attention. She was ready, she always was, and she was human after the alien soldier and his friends left. The bar slowly returned to its quiet state. Laura continued cleaning glasses, but her mind was alert. She knew that the encounter had changed something. The aliens would talk, and stories of a human defeating a soldier without weapons would spread. The galaxy did not easily forget such things. Ben Carter, still behind the counter, kept glancing at Laura. "Why didn't you just tell them who you are?" he asked quietly. "Why hide?" Laura shook her head. "Humans are not heroes for fame," she said. "We fight when necessary, but we do not want attention. The galaxy likes to overestimate strength it can see and underestimate strength it cannot. Hiding is sometimes the only way to survive." Ethan Ross, the security officer, leaned against the counter. "I never thought I would see you again," he said softly. "After the wars, you disappeared, no record of you anywhere, and now here you are in this small bar handling a soldier like he was nothing." Laura looked at him with a small, sad smile. "I retired," she said simply. "I wanted peace. The wars, they changed me, not for the better. I fight only to protect others now, not to win glory." Ethan nodded slowly. He had heard stories of Laura Miles. She had been one of humanity's most dangerous soldiers, feared across multiple systems. Her skill in battle was unmatched, her speed and intelligence legendary. Entire alien fleets had avoided engagements when she was involved. She had survived missions that no human team could complete. Yet now she was quiet, small, running a bar, seemingly harmless. Outside, the station's communication system buzzed. A small group of aliens had gathered near the docking bay, speaking in hushed tones. One of them, a tall, gray-skinned alien with ridges along his head, spoke urgently. "This human, she is not ordinary. She defeated one of our elite soldiers alone. Reports say she is Laura Miles. Confirmation needed." Another alien clicked its mandibles nervously. "If this is true, humanity is more dangerous than we believed. Our scouts underestimated them. All records labeled humans as weak. This is a problem." The first alien nodded. "We must report to our council. If Laura Miles has returned, the galaxy must reconsider human strength. She could lead entire fleets into battle alone." Inside the bar, Laura noticed movement through the small window. She saw the aliens gathering outside, trying to identify her. She sighed. Hiding was no longer possible. "Ben," she said quietly, "we may not be alone for long." "Word travels fast. I need you to stay calm and let me handle this." Ben nodded, fear in his eyes. I will try," he said. Ethan stepped closer. "Do you want help?" he asked. Laura shook her head. "No, this is something I must face myself. Humans survive in ways aliens cannot understand. Let them see the truth, but do not get in the way." The alien soldiers outside whispered among themselves. Karth had already spread the story of what happened in the bar. They could not understand how one human could fight like that. Some of them feared returning to their fleets. Some wondered if humans had hidden warriors ready at any moment. Laura walked to the bar's entrance, her eyes scanning the corridor. She knew she had to make a choice. She could stay hidden and risk further attacks, or she could make her presence known and send a message. The aliens outside began moving closer. Laura opened the door slowly. The corridor was empty except for the small group of aliens approaching cautiously. She did not raise her voice. She did not show anger. She only stood tall, calm, and ready. The gray-skinned alien stepped forward. "Human Laura Miles," it said, its voice trembling slightly. "We wish to speak. We mean no harm." Laura studied the alien. She could sense fear and respect mixed together. "Speak," she said simply. The alien hesitated. "Your actions, they have shocked our soldiers. They underestimated humans. We did not know that your species could be so dangerous. Our commander requests a meeting with you. We wish to understand why you fight and why you survived where others failed." Laura nodded slowly. "Humans survive," she said. "Because we endure, we adapt, and we fight when necessary. Strength is not always visible. Do not underestimate what you cannot see." "That is all you need to know for now." The alien clicked its mandibles nervously. "Your humility, it is unusual. Humans do not often show restraint after victory." Laura smiled faintly. "Restraint is power. Anyone can destroy. Only the wise know when to act. Remember that." The aliens backed away slowly, communicating with one another. Laura returned to the bar, picking up a glass as if nothing had happened. The tension remained, but the aliens now understood that the human in this small bar was far from ordinary. Ben watched her quietly. They fear you," he whispered. Laura nodded. "Fear is not what I want. Respect is. If they understand that humans survive in ways they cannot predict, perhaps the galaxy will be safer." Ethan shook his head in disbelief. "I cannot believe you are here. You could lead fleets, fight battles alone, and yet you choose this life." Laura set down the glass and looked at him. I have seen what war does to people. I do not need glory. Humans fight because we must, not for pride or fame. That is what makes us different. The alien observers began returning to their ships, sending messages to their fleets. The word of Laura Miles' return and her quiet but deadly power spread quickly. Some feared retaliation. Some feared that humans had many more hidden warriors. The galaxy slowly began to realize that humanity was not weak, that humans could endure situations that no other species could. Back in the bar, Laura cleaned quietly. Ben worked beside her, still trembling from the earlier fight. Ethan kept watch, ensuring no alien returned too soon. Will they come back? Ben asked softly. Laura shook her head. Perhaps, but humans survive, and if they return, they will know that this is not the first time a human has defended themselves. It will not be the last. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, quiet and indifferent. But inside the bar, Laura Miles was a living reminder of what humanity could do. The galaxy had seen only a glimpse of her skill, but it was enough. Enough to remind aliens that humans were not weak. Enough to warn them that strength could be quiet, patient, and deadly. Ethan finally spoke. You could have returned to war, you could have led fleets, changed outcomes, and yet you choose this. Laura smiled faintly. Humans do not fight for power, we fight to survive. If the galaxy remembers that, perhaps there will be peace, and if not, then they will understand the cost of underestimating us. Ben watched her silently, awe in his eyes. He knew now that humans were not ordinary, and Laura Miles was living proof. Aliens would not forget this day. Humans would not be underestimated again. Laura walked to the bar's window, looking at the distant stars. She knew her quiet life was over. Someone would always seek her out. But she was ready. Humans endured, humans adapted, humans fought. And she was human. The bar remained calm for the moment, but the story of Laura Miles, humanity's most hidden strength, was already spreading. In the galaxy, the whisper of her name would grow louder. Some would fear it, some would respect it. And humanity, patient and quiet, would continue to survive, always ready for the next test. The galaxy had already begun to notice Laura Miles. Reports of the bar incident traveled quickly through communications channels, reaching alien commanders, diplomats, and scouts alike. The footage of Laura taking down an off-duty soldier without weapons, without killing anyone, was shared from system to system. Everywhere, disbelief and fear followed. In a tall council chamber aboard a massive alien command ship, several commanders gathered. Their faces, a mix of disbelief and concern, were turned toward the large display showing Laura's actions. The alien ambassador Sevik, a gray-skinned diplomat with sharp eyes, spoke first. This human, she is unlike any we have encountered, Sevik said. Our soldier, experienced and trained for years, could not even touch her. We must reconsider all assumptions about humans. Another commander, taller and more muscular, clicked his mandibles angrily. They are just humans, weak, small, fragile. How can one of them defeat an elite soldier? Sevik shook his head. You underestimate humans because you measure strength only by size and weapons. Laura Miles shows that strength is also in skill, control, and endurance. She survived battles that entire fleets avoided. We cannot ignore this. A third commander, more cautious, spoke. What do we do now? We cannot send more soldiers. She is too dangerous. If humans have more like her, we face a serious problem. Sevik paused. We must open dialogue. We cannot attack humans blindly. We need to understand them. Perhaps this is a warning we cannot ignore. Back on the station, Laura continued her quiet work at the bar. She repaired broken tables, wiped spilled drinks, and organized the shelves. Ben and Ethan helped, both still in awe of what had happened. The incident could have destroyed the bar, the patrons, and the station, but Laura handled it all calmly. They are talking about you, Ben said softly. Aliens, commanders, they are reviewing the footage. Laura nodded. I know, she said. They will send more soldiers if they do not respect humans. That is why restraint is important. Show them strength, but do not destroy. Let them learn the lesson without needless loss. Ethan frowned. It seems impossible. They are already panicking. Laura shrugged. Fear is natural. They have never seen humans like this. They thought we were weak. Now they know the truth. Outside the station, alien ships moved cautiously. Scouts observed the bar from a distance, measuring the situation. Word spread to alien fleets, and discussions took place at every level. Some aliens argued for diplomacy, others for preemptive attacks. No one could agree. Laura Miles had changed their perspective overnight. Inside the bar, Laura spoke quietly to Ben and Ethan. Humans survive because we adapt, she said. We do not seek conflict, but if challenged, we respond. That is the truth the galaxy must learn, nothing more, nothing less. Ben shook his head. But they could attack us, they could bring fleets here. Laura smiled faintly. If they do, they will remember that humans are not weak. One person, one human, can change the outcome of a battle. One human can make a fleet hesitate. That is why I act only when necessary. As the day passed, more aliens arrived at the station. Some came under the pretense of trade, others as observers. They kept their distance, watching Laura carefully. They whispered among themselves, questioning reports and records. Every action of hers was measured, every word noted. They could not understand how one human could command such respect without seeking it. A young alien scout approached Laura cautiously. "Human," he said, voice trembling, "your skills, your strength, it is beyond our understanding. Why do you not lead humans in war?" Laura looked at him calmly. "War does not make strength," she said. "Humans survive because we endure, we adapt, and we fight when necessary. Strength is not only about winning battles, it is about protecting what matters." The alien scout nodded slowly, still unsure. He had never seen such a controlled, quiet power. Most aliens measured strength by aggression, by the ability to destroy. Laura showed them a different kind of strength, one they could not grasp fully. Sevik, the diplomat, finally arrived at the station personally. He requested a private meeting with Laura. He was careful, respectful, and observant. "Human Laura Miles," Sevik said, bowing slightly. "Your actions have reached our council. They are unprecedented. They have shocked and frightened us. We wish to understand your intentions." "Why fight when you could have avoided it? Why show such power?" Laura met his gaze evenly. "I fight when necessary," she said. "I do not seek conflict. I do not desire power. Humans endure, adapt, and survive. That is our way. The galaxy will learn to respect us if it understands this simple truth." Sevik paused. "Simple truth, but it is difficult for us to accept. Your restraint, your skill, it is beyond anything we have experienced. Your species, it could dominate if it chose. Why not?" Laura's eyes were calm, sharp. "Domination is not strength. Endurance, patience, and the will to survive, that is strength. Humans survive without conquest. We fight only when forced to. That is our choice. The galaxy can judge us by our actions, not our potential." Sevik nodded slowly. "Your words, they carry wisdom. Perhaps this is why humans are so underestimated. We see only what is visible, not what is hidden." Laura smiled faintly. "That is correct. Respect what you cannot see, fear what you underestimate. That is enough to keep balance." Back at the bar, aliens continued to arrive in small numbers. They observed, they whispered, and they debated. Some wanted to apologize, some wanted to study her further, others feared provoking humans. Laura handled each situation calmly. She spoke when necessary, acted when necessary, but never overstepped. Every action reinforced a quiet but powerful message. Humans are not weak, and their strength is measured by choice, not size or weapons. Ben watched in awe as aliens approached cautiously, spoke politely, and left quietly. "I cannot believe it," he whispered. "You are teaching them without even fighting." Laura nodded. "Lesson is stronger than war," she said simply. "One display of restraint can teach more than a fleet of attacks. Humans endure. Humans survive. That is enough for now." As the day turned to night, communication channels from nearby systems continued buzzing. Every fleet and council that received reports paused to reconsider. Laura Miles had become more than a human in a bar. She had become a symbol, not of war, not of conquest, but of humanity's quiet, unstoppable strength. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the galaxy's slow awakening. Inside the bar, Laura served drinks, cleaned tables, and spoke calmly with patrons. She had shown the galaxy what humans could do without raising a weapon unnecessarily. Aliens understood that humans were unpredictable, resilient, and powerful. Ethan spoke softly. "They will think twice before challenging humans again." Laura nodded. "They should. Humans survive not because we are violent, but because we endure, because we act with purpose, because we do not fight without reason. That is strength they cannot understand." Ben smiled faintly. "And you are proof." Laura looked out at the stars once more. "Proof is only meaningful if it teaches. Humans endure. Humans survive. If others see that, perhaps the galaxy will remember the lesson without war. That is enough for now." The aliens, diplomats, and commanders left slowly, taking with them reports and impressions. The story of Laura Miles spread further, creating ripples that would grow throughout systems. Whispers of human endurance, restraint, and hidden strength would travel faster than fleets. The galaxy had learned something it would not forget. Humans, patient and quiet, were not weak. And Laura Miles, quietly working in a small bar at the edge of space, had reminded the galaxy of that truth with nothing more than calm skill, restraint, and quiet resolve. The morning sun of the station rose slowly, casting soft light across the metallic corridors. The bar, usually quiet, hummed with a few early customers. Laura Miles moved behind the counter with her usual calm, wiping glasses and organizing shelves. She knew today would not be ordinary. The events of the last few days had spread far beyond the station, and whispers of her presence had reached fleets, councils, and diplomatic offices across several systems. Ben Carter poured coffee for a few patrons, his hands steady but his mind restless. "Do you think they will come back?" he asked quietly, glancing at Laura. Laura looked up, her eyes calm but sharp. "Some may," she said simply. "Others will think twice before testing humans again. Humans endure, humans survive, that is enough for now." Ethan Ross, standing near the door, nodded. "Your message is clear. Aliens will reconsider humanity. Your restraint, your control, it is something they cannot ignore." Laura paused, setting down a clean glass. "Restraint is more powerful than aggression," she said. "If humans show strength without destroying unnecessarily, the galaxy will learn the right lesson. Strength without reason is dangerous. Strength with control earns respect." At that moment, the station's communication system buzzed. A group of alien representatives appeared on the view screen. Sevik, the diplomat who had visited before, was at the center, flanked by others. His face was serious, but his eyes showed respect. "Laura Miles," Sevik said, voice steady, "we come on behalf of the Council. Your actions have changed our understanding of humans. We wish to formally apologize for the behavior of our soldier and for any offense caused. We also seek to understand your intentions so that we may avoid conflict in the future." Laura listened carefully. She did not raise her voice, did not show pride or anger. She only spoke with calm authority. "Your apology is noted," she said. "Humans do not seek conflict without reason. We survive, endure, and act when necessary. That is the only intention you need to understand." An elder alien, tall with silver-gray skin, spoke cautiously. "Your restraint, it is unusual. Most species show their power by destruction. Why do humans differ?" Laura's eyes were steady. "Humans survive because we choose when to act. We do not fight for pride or conquest. We fight to protect what matters. That is the difference. You will understand it if you witness it, not by trying to measure us in the usual ways." Sevik nodded slowly. "We will remember your words. Humans are stronger than our records show. We underestimated you." "It is clear now." Laura looked away toward the station corridor, then back at the screen. "Let this be a warning, not a threat. Respect humans and you will see patience and endurance. Underestimate us and you will face consequences you cannot predict." That is all you need to know. The alien representatives left the view screen, quietly relaying her message to fleets and councils. Across several systems, commanders paused, reviewing footage and reports. Whispers spread quickly. Humans were not weak. One human could withstand elite soldiers, defeat them without killing, and leave an impression that fleets could not ignore. Humanity had quietly reminded the galaxy of its hidden strength. Back at the bar, Laura returned to her work. Ben and Ethan observed her in awe. You are sending a message without even raising a weapon," Ben said. Laura smiled faintly. "The galaxy remembers actions more than words. Patience, restraint, and endurance speak louder than attacks. Humans survive because we choose, not because we dominate. That is the message they must carry." The door slid open suddenly. A young alien scout entered, hesitating at the threshold. He looked at Laura with wide eyes. "Human Laura Miles," he said nervously. I wanted to see you. The Council, they are discussing your message." "They fear humans, but they also respect you." Laura nodded calmly. "Fear is natural, respect is earned, remember that." The scout glanced around the bar. "Your restraint, it is incredible. You could have destroyed my fleet if you wanted." Laura shook her head. "Destruction does not teach. Patience, endurance, and action when necessary, that is how humans survive. That is how humans are remembered. My actions today are enough to change your perspective if you choose to understand it." The scout left quietly, still staring at her in disbelief. Ben whispered, "They will spread the story, won't they?" Laura nodded. They already are. Patience is more powerful than war. One calm human can change the course of understanding faster than a fleet of soldiers. Humans endure and they adapt. That is enough to make the galaxy think twice. Ethan stepped forward. They will respect humans now, won't they? Laura smiled faintly. They will remember that humans are not weak. They will understand that endurance and patience matter. That is the difference. Strength without reason is dangerous. Strength with purpose earns respect. Over the next several hours, aliens approached the station in small numbers. Some came to apologize, some to observe, some to learn. Laura greeted them with calm politeness, never showing arrogance, never demonstrating unnecessary power. Her presence alone was enough to make them cautious. Every action, every word reinforced humanity's quiet message. Humans are capable, patient, and strong beyond appearances. Ben and Ethan worked beside her, quietly amazed. "You've changed the galaxy," Ben whispered. Laura shook her head. "I have only reminded them. Humans survive because we endure, because we act when necessary, and because we control our strength. That is the lesson, and it will last longer than any battle." Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the galaxy's transformation. The whispers of Laura Miles' deeds traveled from station to station, fleet to fleet, council to council. Humans were no longer underestimated. They were respected, cautiously observed, and quietly feared. As the day drew to a close, Laura closed the bar for a short moment, stepping outside to watch the station lights flicker in the distance. She breathed deeply, her calm demeanor unshaken. Humanity's quiet message had been sent. Endurance, restraint, and patient strength were enough to remind the galaxy of what humans could do. Ethan joined her quietly. "You've done it. You didn't fight a fleet, didn't lead armies, and yet they will remember humans differently now." Laura nodded. "Humans fight when necessary. We do not fight for glory or conquest. This is our truth. If the galaxy learns it, wars can be avoided. If not, they will understand the cost of underestimating us." Ben came outside too, looking at the distant stars. "Do you think they will ever leave humans alone?" he asked. Laura smiled faintly. "Perhaps, or perhaps they will approach more carefully. Humans endure, humans survive, and humans fight only when forced. That is enough to keep them cautious. That is enough to remind them that we are not weak." As the night settled over the station, Laura returned to her bar, resuming her quiet work. The galaxy was awake to a new truth. Humans, patient and controlled, were a force not to be underestimated. No fleets, no weapons, no armies could change that fact. Humans survived because they chose to endure. Humans survived because they acted with purpose. Humans survived because they were human. And Laura Miles, quietly working behind a counter in a small bar, had reminded the galaxy of that simple but powerful truth. The whispers of her deeds would travel for years. Fleets would pause, councils would reconsider, and aliens would remember. Humanity is strong not because it conquers, but because it survives, patiently, relentlessly, and wisely. The galaxy would never forget the day Laura Miles showed them the quiet power of humans. Peace returned to the bar once again. Laura served drinks, cleaned tables, and spoke gently to her patrons. She did not boast. She did not fight. She simply existed as a human, calm, skilled, and quietly reminding the galaxy of what humanity could achieve when underestimated. Ben and Ethan understood now. Humans were not just a species. Humans were survivors, fighters, and strategists. Humans were enduring, patient, and strong in ways no other species could comprehend. Laura Miles was the living proof of that truth, and the galaxy would carry her lesson forever. The stars outside shone silently, indifferent yet bearing witness. Inside, Laura poured a drink, smiled faintly, and continued her quiet life, while the galaxy slowly learned a hard truth. Humans, patient and vigilant, are a force the universe cannot ignore.